Welcome to Life by Design, episode 299. Welcome to Life by Design. I'm your host, Dr. Jamie Richards, and I'm joined today by my colleague, Dr. Cratio Jug. Together again. Yes. And actually, Dana's in the room today. She's joining the podcast. She's waving to everybody who's listening in. We are creators of Life by Design with 25 certified locations worldwide. Each week on the show, we discuss the principles and the practice of Life by Design. Today, we're asking the question, does organic food reduce cancer? I know it's something that's been thrown around over and over. And in the, I hate to use this term, but natural health movement, it's always been stated that organic food is better. And then the counter to that is, can you prove it? There's no way that it makes that big of a difference. And so for the actual consumer, it brings into question a lot of the buying decisions. Should I get organic? What food should I get organic? Does it make any difference at all? So there was a research study that was done. Cratio, I believe it was Harvard University?
No. Harvard reviewed the research. It was done. It was done by a university in France or a government-funded institution in France, I believe.
Okay. Great. And so it was reviewed, and probably to the surprise of many, they felt like, even though observational and not necessarily, a causal link, and we'll talk about why that is and what that means, that there was an improvement in people who actually consumed organic food over not. Is that correct?
Yes. The head of, I can't remember his name, and I don't have the study in front of me, but the head of research department at Harvard said, yes, this is very good. It requires more looking into. But it's definitely something that, it has potential. And the two types of cancer that were noticed that showed an improvement were breast and lymphoma.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, so obviously people who've been, impacted by people with breast cancer or lymphoma, obviously hearing this research is positive. And, we still need to dig into it and ask ourselves, what's the main point? What's the takeaway? Because the takeaway actually isn't to eat organic food, I don't think, from this.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, as always, I think there's a different conversation here. So start off with a really quick review, and that's the concept of requirements and strategies. And it sets the stage for everything, that the body has specific requirements, whether it be water, sleep, whether it be biostructural function, whether it be strength training, mobility, and of course, as it applies to today's episode, nutrition. So there's specific nutrient requirements that the body has in order to function properly. And instead of getting hooked on the different diets, keto, paleo, vegetarianism, we need to talk more about what are the body's requirements and how do we best meet those requirements, which are the strategies. And that helps you overcome the craziness that goes on in the world of diet, and helps you understand, why something like, a study that came out recently claiming that eggs are as dangerous as smoking seems absolutely insane. It's because it's completely out of context, and they're not understanding this concept of requirements and strategies. So we need to understand how the body works. We need to understand what it needs in order to be healthy. The number one principle in Eat by Design is food quality. And so it just makes sense that if you're eating foods that are organically raised, there could be an improvement in food quality, and it would make sense that that could translate into some health benefits, Cratio.
Sure. And I mean, the reason, I don't know, the way that my brain works is I would want to know why that is, right? Why is it that food that's raised, quote, organic? And I mean, I don't know the answer. It makes sense logically, though, that because, it's like that sign, that meme that you see online, you should try organic food. Our grandparents just used to call it food.
Right.
Right. And I don't want to downplay, and we've done episodes on genetic engineering and Monsanto and all that stuff. And I don't know. I don't find anything necessarily wrong with it. I definitely think it's better than starving. So let's not drop the context that these companies are feeding a lot of people, or genetic engineering is helping food feed a lot of people. However, our bodies have evolved on and adapted to food in a certain context. And anytime that we change that context in a rapid period of time, there's always the problem that our bodies are not going to be able to adapt to it. We see this case with dairy in certain people. We see this case with grains in more people. right? So we're on the process to adapting to some of this stuff. And if we have not adapted and have lost the ability or cannot adapt to it, then it's going to potentially cause problems in our body, which is, maybe what's happening with this study, in my opinion, anyways.
Well, when you look at a study like this, it's observational. And so you can't necessarily make a causal link that eating organic vegetables is why, in these cases, people had less cancer, because there are a bunch of different statistical phenomena, one being the healthy user bias. And, it's just that people who eat organic food probably do a bunch of other things that makes them healthy as well.
Sure. Yep.
And I believe in the study, they tried to account for some of that. Or I might be mixing it up with a study I just read recently on genetics. But the point is, you can't say one for one that one is causing the other, but it still doesn't mean that it doesn't support the idea that real food is better than food that isn't real. Whether it be the one ingredient rule, right? A carrot, apple, chicken, and so on,
Yep.
versus food that comes in a box with a bunch of different ingredients. So what the study does give us is it gives us at least a starting point to say that, hey, maybe food quality matters more than we're giving it credit for. What do we buy organic? What should we get organic? I think the place to start really is what we call the hierarchy principle, because this opens up a conversation for people who are really interested in food to say, well, I need to eat organic, grass-fed beef. I need to eat organic vegetables and fruits. And if I can't, well, there you go. I guess I can't have any at all. So, I'm going to
Yep.
scrap my whole diet. I'm going to just live on loaves of bread and Twinkies because I can't get, organic grass-fed beef. And I think that's an easy out for people, especially if they're looking for one, when really the next step down is, okay, I can't get organic grass-fed beef. Well, maybe I could get free range. And if I can't get that, well, maybe I can get just good quality meat at the grocery store.
Yeah, I mean, you've kind of given away one of the main answers, though, is if you're going to spend your money on organic food, the best place, and I know in our opinion, I can speak for all of Life But Design, the best place to start is to spend it on meat first, just because, I mean, meat is one of the most nutrient dense foods on the planet,
Yeah.
and there's more than it might not be the best research, but again, there's more than enough data to suggest that poor quality meat leads to harmful effects in the human body, or potential harmful effects in the human body.
Well, we definitely know that organic, I shouldn't even say necessarily organic, but let's say grass-fed beef as an example is a different fat profile than, cows that are fed grains. And so, of course, you can translate that down and look at how that would affect the ingestion in a human, but the principle is there, and there is some research to suggest that that makes sense. And of course, just purely logically, it does make sense. If an animal is eating a diet that it is adapted to and digests well and then can assimilate into their body, then it would make sense that there's probably a better chance that's good for you than an animal who's eating foods that they are not adapted to and that are creating health problems in that animal.
Yeah, I mean, the same principles that apply to the human body apply to animals as well. They want to survive. They've been around for a really long time, and they've gotten used to eating certain foods. And if you take those certain foods and give them things that they're not used to eating, like corn and soy in these cases, they
Mhm.
don't respond very well, or at least they're on the path to adapting to them. But right
Right.
now, they can't adapt, which means they don't respond very well.
So I guess the question is, comes back to the hierarchy principle, I'm sure, as the answer, but you got families who listen to the show, maybe somebody's on a budget or they don't have access to organic food. Obviously we spend the money on meat, as we talked about. We just got our chickens and we have a meat box here at the office that comes in on a regular basis. So that's how we apply this principle. But what about for families who maybe don't have access to that, Cratio? What would you say to them from a budgetary perspective? Would you even do any vegetables and fruits organically? Do you guys do that? What do you look for in your family?
So same thing with us. I mean, all of our budget, because we're eating for four now, and it's not that the boys. It's hilarious. It's not that the boys eat a lot. It's they
Yeah,
don't eat anything. So you cook them a meal and you have to throw it, and you have to throw it out, and you're like, shit.
yeah, it's true.
It's like literally like opening up my wallet and just taking $20 and throwing it in the trash can. But I would say, if this is a real struggle for you, there's a couple things. Number one, missing a meal is better than eating a toxic meal.
Mhm.
And I would leverage as much as possible the most amount of money that I can with to meat. And I would save and then I like the environmental working group. So the website is ewg.org. And what they do is they publish the most highly sprayed vegetables and fruits for the season. So if there's money left over, I would go there and say, I really like to eat, let's say it's apples, and apples are highly sprayed. So this year I'm going to buy organic apples. So I would do like a rotating basis based on what I have left over, what I like to eat, and what is the most highly toxic for that year.
Great. I think that's great advice, Cratio, and that obviously in the context of a full Life by Design blueprint with consistent training, with recovery work, with making sure that your biostructural or neurostructural systems are in check, and just putting it all together, one step at a time, not getting too hung up on making it perfect. Just pick something and work towards making that a habit, and then pick something else and work towards making that a habit, and repeat that cycle over and over again, or what we always say is rinse and repeat, and you're going to see amazing results. That's the Life by Design formula. If you guys want to check out the article yourself, you can go to the show notes at lifebydesign.com/podcast. Find today's episode. You'll also find a link there to the free Eat by Design ebook. And also you can join in on a free 30-day Eat by Design challenge. Thank you guys so much, as always, for joining the drive to 1 million families worldwide living life by design.